Chief Satanta, a member of the Kiowa Indian tribe, the Plains Indian tribe, expressed his love for the land and buffalo, which he believed would lead to freedom and happiness. However, he also warned that when they settled down, they would grow pale and die. This was due to the United States government's attempt to move the Plains Indian tribes onto reservations, small allotments of land, where they were supposed to stay and live. The Plains Indian culture celebrates movement over the wide plains, following buffalo herds, and hunting. The conflict between the Plains Indians and white settlers led to raids, battles, and the Sand Creek Massacre, which occurred in 1864 when Colonel John M. Chivington attacked the reservation, killing between 100 and 500 people, women, and children. The U.S. government hastens to make peace with the Plains tribes, but they do not want another war after the Civil War. The Little Arkansas Council convened in October 1865 to arrange a peace treaty with the Cheyenne, Arapaho, Comanche, Kiowa, and Plains Apache. The tribes agreed to cede their lands north of the Arkansas River, and the Plains tribes were relocated to other lands. The Cheyenne, Arapaho, and Plains Apache were given lands between southwestern Kansas and the northwestern Indian Territory, present-day Oklahoma, while the Kiowa and Comanche were given the western half of the Indian Territory and the present-day Texas Panhandle. White settlers called for the removal of all the rest of the Plains tribes from the area outside the Indian Territory. They wanted the tribes to be moved into the Indian Territory. The Medicine Lodge Council, held in October 1867, was a meeting between U.S. delegates and leaders of the Plains tribes. The U.S. government wanted to move everyone to reservations, believing that eventually, the buffalo would become extinct, and the Plains tribes would not have any food, as that was their traditional source of food. The Medicine Lodge Council had severe consequences, as the Plains tribes were relocated to reservations. They were moved into the former land of the 5 tribes, who had lost their lands due to siding with the Confederacy and having to sign treaties with the U.S. government after the conclusion of the Civil War. The Kiowa, Comanche, and Plains Apache were placed in former Choctaw and Chickasaw lands within the Indian Territory, and the Cheyenne and Arapaho were placed in the Cherokee Outlet. Indian agencies and reservation boundaries were established, and the United States promised gifts and rations to help manage the American Indians within the reservations. The United States pledged to protect the Native American tribes and ensure their safety and well-being. The U.S. promised to protect Plains tribes from white settlers in Indian territories, but many tribes refused to move on to the reservations, refusing to abandon their traditional ways, and continued raiding in protest. In summary, the relationship between the Plains Indians and white settlers was complex and tumultuous. The U.S. government's efforts to move the tribes onto reservations led to significant conflicts and displacement, ultimately affecting the way the tribes lived and the way they adapted to their new environment.